I believe a year from now when we meet, we're going to talk about the adoption of real world use cases at scale. Like I'm talking massive scale with tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of users all using these apps to solve real world problems. And I think that we're just right there right now. It's almost like we can smell it and touch it. Um, it's a world I'm very excited for.
Welcome to Gen C. Sam here. I am excited to bring this conversation to you. We heard news this week about Western Union dipping their toes into crypto. They made a deal with Solana. This deal can potentially bring stablecoins across the globe to the over 500,000 locations that Western Union has. This is a big deal because Western Union is the top player in the game for sending money across borders. But we have, over the years, spent some time with MoneyGram, and MoneyGram is a very close second, something like 450,000 locations around the world. And they've been playing in the crypto space now for years. So they actually have a big advantage in order to sort of take on this opportunity. And I'm sure that Western Union looks at that and says, we got to play this game too. So a few weeks ago, I sat down with Anthony Sohoo, the new CEO of MoneyGram, in Rio, live at Stellar Meridian. And I thought it'd be a great time to play this conversation. So after the break, come back, hear my conversation with Anthony Sohoo from MoneyGram as we talk all things crypto, stablecoins, cross-border payments. And we don't really get into Western Union, but I'm really excited for the fact that MoneyGram has this first mover advantage. And my guess is they are positioned to really succeed. And Western Union coming in actually just validates their premise. So we'll see you on the other side of the break.
Break the cycle of exploitation, break down the barriers to truth, break into the next generation of privacy, break free. Free to scroll without being monetized, free from censorship, freedom without fear. We deserve more when it comes to privacy. Experience the next generation of blockchain that is private and inclusive by design. Break free with Midnight. Visit midnight.network/break-free.
Looking for a faster, cheaper way to move money worldwide? Owlting, now listed on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol OWLS, is building the rails for stablecoin payments. Convert fiat to stablecoins and send money as easily as a text message. Learn more at owlting.com.
CoinDesk Bitcoin Treasury Month is brought to you by Genius Group, a Bitcoin treasury company listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker GNS. Genius is building toward a 10,000 Bitcoin treasury and just launched Genius Academy, featuring courses from Saifedean Ammous and more. Start learning for free today at geniusacademy.ai. Genius Group. Genius isn't measured in IQ, it's measured in Bitcoin.
Anthony, we have not spoken before.
We have not.
But I'm excited to talk to you today. We have spoken with MoneyGram in the past, and I've always been very impressed with how early MoneyGram was to understanding the power of payments and blockchain. So you're new, you've been there 10 months. Tell us sort of your experience so far and what excites you about sort of playing the game of crypto with MoneyGram.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, I've been at the company for a little more than 10 months. Actually, I would say one of the biggest reasons why I joined the company was the potential that we have to play in terms of democratizing finance, making it much more inclusive through crypto. And it was a big draw for me of being able to take kind of the physical assets that MoneyGram is known for while transforming the company to an omni-channel digital and physical player, which allows everyone to have financial access on our rails. And so far so good, or still early days, but right now I'm proud to say we're the largest cash on and off ramp for crypto. So it's exciting.
That's something I always love about coming to Meridian is the idea that, sitting in New York where our offices are located, we already have pretty sophisticated financial rails. You can Venmo someone, you can Zelle someone, you can use PayPal, whatever it is. But once we come to a place like Brazil or some of the other places we've been, you start to realize the true power of financial inclusion. And I love that what you mentioned, because there is no one bigger at helping to get money off chain than you. So I know you've made a big announcement here around a new app. So tell us a little bit about that and what the impact of that is.
Yeah, so we are excited to announce that we are launching the next generation MoneyGram app to offer our customers. And we're going to launch it first in Colombia with a fast follow in many other countries, including a lot of LATAM countries. The key thing about this app is that our goal is to provide a faster, safer, and more flexible experience for our customers and actually allow them, for instance, to send funds instantaneously and receive it on the other side instantaneously. And what's the beauty of this new app that we're launching is that the users can receive the cash and hold the cash in USDC through our partnership with on the Stellar blockchain as well as Circle. And what it does is it allows and enables our customers to have maximum flexibility to be able to hold that currency in USD and then that's pegged to USD and then actually then redeem it at the point when they want to spend, which I think is a very important problem. And it's just the first step that we have in terms of driving more financial inclusion with powerful products for customers. What I would say is that if you want to see the demo, oh, and the other part of this that I think is really great is we've also integrated with WhatsApp through at text as well as the MoneyGram app so that the receiver actually has instant notifications and they can check at any time. If you want to see a full demo, I think go check out the next session, I think, following this one with Luke Tuttle, our CTO, as well as Josh Biddens, who runs our wallet at MoneyGram.
I always thought of MoneyGram as an off ramp to cash in a local currency, but I wonder, does the app also enable the opportunity that people can now just keep the money in app and transfer back and forth?
Yes, that is a possibility. Again, the word flexibility, I would say, doesn't do it justice enough because what we want to do is put the power in the hands of our consumers so they can decide when they want to put the money in, when they want to take the money out. The more important thing is, as people want to participate sometimes in crypto, a lot of people are not fluent in terms of thinking about it. And I think the real magic of what we've done, and hopefully you see it when you play around with the app, is we've abstracted everything. You do not need to be a crypto expert to be able to use this. All you need to know is we're allowing you to store your cash in a stable currency like USD, and then take it out on your terms if you want, or if you don't want to store it.
Stable currencies, stable coins. This is, I think, the sort of killer application within crypto. Paulo from Tether said they had 500 million people on it. He also said 60% of all of those people, it's the only crypto they use or even know about. So what is it about a stable currency that allows for that sort of global adoption to happen as quickly, and especially with the regulatory opportunities that we've seen over the last year?
I think it's serving and solving a real world problem right now. That's kind of the key thing. I think, one, as you and I were kind of joking about the fact that it's kind of hard to get a flight out of Bentonville and you have to take actually a few hops before you land at your destination. I think the transfer of money globally is a very complex thing. And actually, money, when you're trying to send it, goes through a lot of hops like you have to do when you fly out of a small town. And also, it's expensive because of all those hops. What we're talking about is getting to a point where we can make things instantaneous, transparent, safe, and on your own terms being very flexible. So we're giving the ultimate power to the consumer. I think that that's going to be some of the reasons why the adoption of stablecoin is just going to only accelerate.
Do you think that your users understand crypto? And I say that in the sense of anyone who's been in this industry as long as I've been, and probably a lot of people in this room, we really think about the ethos of decentralization. We think about the kind of freedom layer that comes with the technology. And then we have the sort of a brand like MoneyGram or a Visa, MasterCard, all these people who are playing in the space who've built trust, right? The small businesses and users around the world. And are those at odds, or is it really that the end user on MoneyGram doesn't need to know about crypto? They just want to figure out easier ways to use money.
I don't think that if we want to drive the mass adoption, obviously you always have, as Jeffrey Moore used to say, these chasms that people had to go through. Early adopters, you try to learn everything about the technology, but as we go mainstream, I think consumers don't really care. What they want to know is in the physical world, when they have cash, they prefer not to put it in their mattress because they know it's getting devalued in some of these countries, and they try to do exchanges for currencies that actually have more value, that are more stable. And we're going to allow them to do that in real time inside an app. But I think one of the big things when you talk about these worlds that we see an important role that MoneyGram plays is that we bridge the idea of digital with physical. And by merging the two, I think there's a few benefits. One is that we become a lot more accessible for people because, as you know, it can be very intimidating if you're not in the DeFi world. And then number two, I think we provide this concept of a safer environment because if you have problems, there's a physical person you can actually talk to. So I've always thought that when I joined MoneyGram, it's playing out that way, which is we are really the bridge and we are the interface for real life and real world assets. And that's like a big problem we're solving.
Looking for a faster, cheaper way to move money worldwide? Owlting, now listed on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol OWLS, is building the rails for stablecoin payments. With OwlPay, you can seamlessly convert fiat currency to stablecoins, send money as easily as a text message, and on or off-ramp globally. Learn more about Owlting at owlting.com.
CoinDesk Bitcoin Treasury Month is brought to you by Genius Group, a Bitcoin treasury company listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker GNS. Genius is on its way to hodling 10,000 Bitcoin in its treasury while educating the world on a Bitcoin-first future. Genius has launched the Genius Academy with courses from the likes of Saifedean Ammous, author of the Bitcoin Standard, Natalie Brunell, and many more. Start your Genius learning journey for free today at geniusacademy.ai and earn Bitcoin-backed gems. Genius Group. Genius isn't measured in IQ, it's measured in Bitcoin.
You know, we were talking earlier on the CoinDesk stage with Goldie from Fireblocks. He brought up a stat that there's right now 2 billion a month being transacted in stablecoins. And I asked whether the biggest problem was the name stablecoin. That is that already like saying MP3 or TCP/IP. Because I just assume in your world it's pesos or it's whatever the cash going out is. As someone who also is championing a big brand, you know, does the crypto brand help or hurt in terms of your audience?
Depends who you talk to or which administration you talk to too as well. I would say that we see a world, as far as we can see, where there's going to be a need for both fiat and cryptocurrency. And we believe that there will be, in terms of how you use it, will depend on the context and the environment that you'll operate in. Now, I would say that what we want to do is just abstract it so that the customer has an idea of the problem they're trying to solve, may it be in terms of storing value, or may it be in terms of transaction speed, transparency, or what works well for a specific vertical. And we want to leverage that point by connecting the physical and digital world together and enabling it for everyone.
The folks like you at MoneyGram and your main competitor have been getting money to people around the world for a long time. There is a tremendous amount of activity right now. You mentioned Circle, you mentioned WhatsApp. We could talk about MoonPay, we could talk about Coinbase or Stripe. All of these folks now are clearly seeing this as an opportunity. How do you think that you have to continue to innovate to keep yourself top of mind?
Well, I think all the players you mentioned so far, and a large majority of the players out there that are trying to solve this problem, is a digital-only footprint. I think one of our biggest assets is the fact that we operate in both the physical world and the digital world. And I think from an accessibility perspective, if you have a problem, sometimes you want to talk to someone who's like grounded in your community, a real person. So we see there's always going to be a need for the physical side where you offer full service. And then if you want speed transaction and have your payments network in your pocket, there's going to be a big role there. I would say that a lot of players that you're talking about, we also want to work with them because we've launched a product back in May called MoneyGram Ramps to enable anyone to be able, as long as they're compliant and fill it and adhere to AML and KYC compliant solutions, to be able to access our network and our rails.
So in a perfect world, you're still where people are getting the cash out.
Yes. And in a perfect world, we hide all the complexities because of all our licensing, where we can allow any senders and any partners be able to send money around the globe because we operate in actually over 200 countries and territories, around 20 across 20,000 corridors, across 500,000 retail locations, so over 500,000,000 retail locations and then 5 billion digital endpoints. Our goal is to keep growing those presence on the physical as well as the digital side, because we believe that our job is really to connect the world through cross-border payments in both the physical and the digital world.
Mm. I've been in Meridian now. This is my third year. It's always one of my favorite conferences because we get to have conversations like this. And I feel like we are at the precipice of a true revolution in finance, because we are starting to see this scalable programmable money that can be sent at the speed of light. And so from someone who is thinking money day in, day out, does it feel like we are at that moment?
Yes, and I think that it felt even more like and really accelerated with the Genius Act. I think by putting some structure in it and understanding how we need to work with regulators and countries, I think we're really at that block right now where the rocket ship's right about to take off. And hopefully it's only going to scale from there. I think at this point, the thing I would say is, as I mentioned, I joined MoneyGram because of the potential that we could do, what we can do for some of these rails on crypto. And I'm happy to say 10 months later that the opportunity is actually bigger than I imagined 10 months ago.
Can you talk a little bit more about what are those areas you're seeing?
Yeah, I would say that there's going to be a lot of innovations, both on a pay in, pay out side. I think that there's just going to be a lot more options for people as they think about how they want to send money across border. And then the more important thing is that I think people are going to choose, and we're going to understand how use cases are happening. And there's going to be very vertical solutions across each of them. And some of them won't be built by firms like us or our peers, but they're going to be done by like world-class developers who know their market, their country, and the industry they play in. And what we want to do at MoneyGram is allow and enable that as a platform and allow people to build on our network, because we can't imagine all the great innovation that's going to happen. In some respects, we see ourselves a little bit more like AWS or Microsoft to allow and enable some of the innovation that can happen beyond just our own company.
So the folks you're going to meet at this conference, you're partly saying we can be a provider for you.
Yes, I would say maybe this sounds kind of funny. Remember the old Steve Ballmer video, but we're saying developers, and we want to partner with you. Does it make sense?
My last question for you, let's say you and I are sitting on the stage in a year. What does success look like in that year for MoneyGram in the crypto space?
Well, I think we're going to go beyond just launches, and I believe a year from now when we meet, we're going to talk about the adoption of real world use cases at scale. Like I'm talking massive scale with tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of users all using these apps to solve real world problems. And I think that we're just right there right now. It's almost like we can smell it and touch it. It's a world I'm very excited for.
So how many users do you have globally right now?
Well, we support over 50 million customers a year right now, and we believe that there's an opportunity to grow that in a very big way.
So part of it is not only getting all of them to understand that this is an opportunity for them to just pay better, receive better, but also to get the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, our job is to connect the world through payments, and we want to do that in a fast, cheap, or very cost-effective, if not free way, and make it simple for everyone. And that goes for our customers as well as the developers and our partners.
All right. Well, Anthony, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you next year.
Great. Look forward to it.